Congressman Tancredo, I've heard some people express some concern over your vote for the TARP program back in 2008. Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. That was about the last vote I took as a member of Congress. And it's ironic because it was probably the most controversial and the most difficult. It's harder now to picture what it was like at the time that we were confronted with this problem. You had the most skillful, you had the most knowledgeable people in the country on the issues of the economy, on the issue of the economy. You had the most knowledgeable people coming in and telling you almost every minute. I mean, and these were economists from both sides of the aisle. These are people, head of the Fed, naturally, who don't put a lot of stock in, but head of the Department of Treasury, Mr. Paulson, coming in and saying, look, there's a crisis of monumental proportion. If we don't do something even within the next 48 hours, I remember them saying over and over again, if we don't do something dramatic in the next 48 hours, we will have a complete and total meltdown of not just our economy, but the world economy, because no banks will be able to loan to each other. They will stop that interbank credit. If that happens, let me tell you, a lot of terrible things occur. People can't get paid. Payrolls can't be met because millions and millions of firms actually operate on that basis of interbanking loans, interbank loans, I should say, and they also said people would not be able to get money out of their ATM machines. Now there were two things you could do. You could go, well, I just don't believe them. I just don't believe that would happen. And you'd say, why? Somebody could say, why don't you believe it? And you go, well, I just don't believe it. It can't possibly happen.
Well, I recall that during that time frame, this very negatively affected me personally.
Oh.
And my life savings, every day that the TARP bill did not get passed, my life savings was dropping. The stock market was plummeting, and I was losing my life savings. So from a voter's perspective, I didn't particularly like TARP, but on the other hand, I felt they had to pass it because I did feel that I was afraid myself the whole economy was going to collapse.
Here are two things to be aware of that I had to think about in terms of that vote. First of all, were there projections, were there fears justified, people that were talking to us? What would be the reason that they would do this if it were not true? I mean, would they? And you could watch the economy melting down while you sat there. Not only that, but if they were right, not only would we face an economic condition worse than the Great Depression, but I feared certainly that people would turn away from capitalism, from markets, from free markets, and say, this doesn't work. I don't want to do this. I'm sick of this. I don't care about theories on capitalism. All I know is my entire life savings disappeared, which, by the way, mine did. It did not come back. It's gone. My wife and I lost almost our entire life savings. So, and it wasn't just that. I mean, that was a problem here with a group up in Boulder called the Agile Safety Fund. So I certainly can relate to people who were looking at what you were looking at. I can remember being just stunned by a call I got. It was actually sometime later, and the guy said, it's too much gone. And I kept saying, how could this be? But it happened. And so I'll tell you this. This is the honest to God truth. I had more than one person who came up to me and said, I can't vote for this because I can't, my constituents are just too conservative, they won't, but please, I hope it passes. There were many people who prayed that it was going to pass because they were fearful, just as I, about the outcome, but would not vote for it because they just wanted to see it pass. And as long as it got the required number they passed, then they could take a pass. you know, and go, oh, this is terrible. Oh my goodness, what a horrible thing you're doing. Thinking all the time, thank God. Now, I hate to say people are like that, but they are. And that happened. And so I did what I believed was right. It was the most difficult vote I think I ever took.